thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Well, good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday, November 19th, and today is, that's right, National Play Monopoly Day. Because everybody loves, everyone loves, race car. You want to be the race car? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be the dog, huh? The little Scottish hound dog? It's also National Carbonated Beverage with Caffeine Day, you guys. How many carbonated beverages are there with caffeine, Jenny Beth?
Well, there's Monster, and there's
a lot. I mean,
a shit ton, Jason.
I mean,
I think that's the technical term, that it's a shit ton.
Your Diet Coke doesn't have caffeine in it.
Yes, it does.
Does it? I thought it was caffeine free. That's why it's diet.
Only if the gold can of Diet Coke is caffeine free.
Okay. All right.
Sugar free.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above or down below on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. It looks like we are waiting for the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, to pop on in. Is that the case, or is he there?
We're waiting on him to pull his green screen up.
Oh, he's pulling his greens up. Apparently,
he came in naked.
Oh, look, there he is. There he is. It is the man who is always right on time. By the hair on his chinny chin chin. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte. And just so you know, I ordered something, so I'll have all the soundboards over here for me soon. So just so you know that.
Got your applause for you.
Yeah.
Here. Can't hear you there, Rico.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. And let's talk, everybody.
Let's talk about it Tuesday.
Let's talk about following this money on this Talk About It Tuesday. Got a question. It's rhetorical, Jason, and Jenny Beth, so no need to answer until we start the conversation.
I was going to say, if you have a question, I have an answer.
Jogging.
Because, I'm full of them. Full of all the answers.
Let me cook. So, is America a democracy or an oligarchy? On Quora, Bob Costello broke down the differences. A democracy is a form of government in which all eligible citizens have an equal say in the decisions that affect our lives. In a democracy, all eligible citizens have the right to participate in the proposal, development, and creation of laws. The majority of decisions are made by majority vote. In an oligarchy, on the other hand, is a form of government in which power is held by a small, privileged elite. In an oligarchy, the few who hold power make decisions that affect the many. This elite group has control over the government and the economy and is not held accountable to the people. Over the years, America's wealth gap widened, and what was once considered a democracy became an oligarchy. Heavily influenced by corporations, ultra-wealthy individuals, and groups of individuals, each with their own selfish agendas to benefit their own wealth-driven incentives and initiatives over that of the general public, regardless of whichever political party was in charge. You want to get something done, move through Congress today, you got to pay for it. And this is why Donald Trump truly is the perfect American ambassador. What's more representative of a broken, fucked up oligarchical nation than a broken, fucked up oligarch? It is what it is. There has never been a U.S. president whose influence has been more for sale than Donald Trump. Y'all think the world's richest man would debase himself to the point where he would become Mar-a-Lago's very own Cato Kalin for nothing? Mr. Drill Baby Drill announced yesterday that he'd be easing NHTSA safety standards to speed up the development of driverless electric vehicles on public American roads. Despite him being vehemently against EVs and being no shortage of online clips with driverless vehicles crashing into shit easily avoided by regular cars driven by humans. Tesla stock spiked 6% immediately after, because Musk's company is best positioned to dominate the driverless space. But wait a minute. Driverless EVs were not a Trump campaign promise. You think that $100 million in Musk money had anything to do with it? The savvy take note. Now, one of the biggest
crazy,
right? One of the biggest roadblocks in America's burgeoning cannabis industry has consistently run into over the past decade is a lack of dollars needed to support a true cannabis lobby to buy influence on Capitol Hill. During the Biden administration, the seeds were sown into reverse course. Enter the U.S. Cannabis Council, a group of deep-pocketed chads and heads of MSOs ganged up to buy their way into legalized profit. Unfortunately, the Biden administration was old-school oligarchy. You still had to go through certain channels to get shit done, each level paying another toll, diminishing your influence once you get to the actual movers and shakers. The USCC came close a few times, but they still fell short.
Not too sure how close they came, but
let me finish. Now that Trump's back in the seat, according to the Hill's Taylor Giorno's reporting, the USCC's hired Mercury Public Affairs to lobby on issues related to the cannabis industry. The lobbyist on the account is Brian Lanza, who served as communications director for President-elect Trump's first-term transition team. Giorno says that the cannabis industry is at a pivotal period because the Biden administration in May initiated the formal rulemaking process to reschedule cannabis to a Schedule III drug with low or moderate potential for abuse from Schedule I alongside heroin and LSD in a category of drugs with a high risk of addiction and no medical use. The incoming Trump administration will have a hand in shaping the next phase of cannabis rescheduling and the burgeoning industry. Trump expressed support for rescheduling cannabis to Schedule III this fall, and both his Department of Health and Human Services nominee, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and part-time teeny bopper aficionado Attorney General pick Matt Gaetz have vocally supported legalization too. With Mercury on payroll and it's no greater time than now for the USCC to buy its way in and shape tomorrow's cannabis industry into what they believe it should have been all along. Will they succeed? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Will they, Jason?
Well, first off, Hawaii Sustainable in the chat says oligarchy, not a constitutional republic with elements of representative democracy. Interesting.
With hints of fascism and just
oh God, you guys are.
Can I just ask a dumb question?
You guys are such gaslighters.
Who's the president when we bailed out the bank twice? Who's the president? Does it matter who the president is my point. It doesn't fucking matter. So don't start off the day, Rico, with this bullshit that Donald Trump is the most corrupt politician in America. Bro, they're all just as bad, but Donald Trump doesn't play in the same sandbox as these other guys. Donald Trump has a different group of people that he might be kowtowing to. But look, Rico, you're not going to get on here every day and do this. Start talking about the truth, bro. Start talking about the truth. How can we stop the special interest in America when we have this infighting? We can't stop the special interest. We've been lobbying cannabis. You know who's been paying for it? The MSOs. You know what they've been saying? They've been saying to reschedule. That's what's happening. Rico Lamitte sits here every fucking day and doesn't say anything but what?
Donald Trump did it. You're right, Saman.
You understood what I said. It does not matter.
No, you're saying that he is kowtowing to these billionaires who are putting money in when they've all been doing that, Rico. And we've been lobbying for cannabis, but the money's coming from the people that want to control it, and they're rescheduling, not descheduling, homie. So what are you doing about it?
Come on, I said that. Listen to this.
Oh, look at this. Here comes the flip flop, you guys. Go ahead, Rico.
Yeah.
They were
You got to talk out of the other side.
under Joe Biden. Is it going to be different now that they have a man in there that has been with Trump?
Everything's going to be different now once Joe Biden gets out of there, Rico. Everything. The economy is going to get better. Everything is going to get better. Weed's going to even get better.
How's that going to happen?
Best weed in the world.
Magic Trump dust?
Yeah, magic Trump dust. You're cute, Todd. You're so funny.
Fuck,
You're so funny.
Gonna get better.
Everything is going to get better. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's not going to get worse. We were living under great times when he was the president, and then we were under sad times with Biden as the head of the.
So, I would love to just jump in here for a couple seconds.
Oh, Jenny!
You guys don't mind.
Did Jenny throw you off the shelf today?
The first is this. Saman, if Rico doesn't come in and offer an alternative perspective, this show gets boring really quick. So every day that he does that, he does you a favor, because otherwise you have nothing to push back against. Secondarily, you made a massive conflation when you conflated the bailing out of banks with the corruption of politicians. Now, we can all say that bailing out of banks instead of the bailing out of middle class or working class families is unfair. But the thread you tried to weave there was broad and obtuse at best, and a psychological disconnect at worst.
Are you saying that Saman is a seamstress now?
Is it more of a conflation than what you just did to try and bail out Rico?
Hell him out for what? What did he say? He asked the question. Will Donald Trump change the rules?
Saman made a very fair statement. It is absolutely true, and anybody who's watching the show for any point in time will agree with that, whether they agree with Trump or the left.
How was it fair when I said America has been an oligarchy for some years now?
Stop it.
Trump, how has it not been?
It's not an oligarchy.
I mean, look, it was pretty obvious
Democratic
that the
Republic
article is trying to paint Trump as this glass ceiling wielder, right? Like he's a Putin Jr. But that's so.
Everyone knows that's fake news.
They're all politicians,
except for the left.
Doing that same shit. I mean, the reality is like the article is opinionated. The article is biased, and it's coming off as like, oh, the politics now are going to be such a terrible disaster and a waste of everyone's time.
They're going to be fantastic.
The waste of everyone's time was that everyone's distracted, not fighting the same fight, which we say every day.
That has nothing to do with what my article said at all.
Rico, I love how you do this, Rico. It's so good every day. I enjoy this.
Read his article.
I'll read his article so we can rehash.
Wait, so you haven't read the article, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I'll read it again instead of my article.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
So that we can rehash the talking points. And
Yarrow is of the thinking that everyone is going to sit on the shitter for 3 hours as he does and go through Discord and read all the articles. Not all of us do that, Yarrow.
If it takes you 3 hours to read all those articles, you definitely need to go back to school.
Yeah, okay. Oh my God, Matthew St. Germain Jr., it's you. Listen, if we are doing our job reporting the news, then we should be able to gather from the reporting of said article the gist and the important bits of the article, just as the audience is giving them. If reading the article on air is not enough to give the information that is pertinent and needed, then we probably need to think about how we're reporting these articles, because I guarantee you all the folks aren't reading them before the show.
Well, they can read them all because they're
It's seven paragraphs. If it takes you 3 hours to read 5 articles, we have real problems here.
Yeah,
it doesn't, but I don't need to actually.
The reason why it triggers you is because I called you out for it a couple of weeks ago when you had opinions about an article and you hadn't taken the time to read.
I still don't think that you're right, okay? Because like if you're going to report to me the information, I'm sorry, I don't need to pre-plan my retorts. I'm able to come off the cuff.
Right, but reading the articles would still be good prep for the show, right?
You're totally right about that, Yarrow. You're so right about that.
Jason, you read your shit for the first time when you read it on air.
You have no clue what I read, Jenny Beth.
Yes, I do,
No
because
way.
that day you read the one about my lawsuit.
That was that day. That was that day, Jenny Beth. That was that day.
I have a text message. You said it, Jason.
You can have whatever. I don't give a shit about any of that.
The USCC has hired as their chief lobbyist a dude that was part of Trump's first round transition team. Are they going to be any better this round than last?
The USCC, no. The USCC is not going to be any better this round. No, not buying it.
Only question.
And let's get real practical and pragmatic for a second. It makes sense for somebody to hire a lobbyist who already has a relationship with whoever has been recently put in power yet again. And so I don't think that that's catering to a particular partisan group so much as it's really practical. It's like, look, if Biden's in office, I'm going to figure out who knows him and hire them. And if Trump is in office, I'm going to figure out who knows him and hire him. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that's very practical in terms of getting the ear of the people in the position of power at that time.
So let me just say this about USCC real quick before we move on. So when USCC first started, it was supposed to bring all of the trade organizations together under one umbrella. That was the purpose of it. And the trade organization that I founded, the GACC, was supposed to be in charge of all of the policy in regards with USCC. Then once the merger happened, then they totally switched it up. All the people from Colorado, like the Vicente Cedarbergs and all of those type of groups, were like, hold on. GACC cannot be in charge of the policy, and they totally ousted it out from underneath us. And it's because they all want to still basically lobby for things like the states' rights bill and whatnot, and want to hamper down markets on state lines so they can keep prices artificially high and not allow interstate commerce or home grow and things like that. So it's nothing more than a big MSO play trying to cannibalize the market space. And no, they will not be successful in that.
So Brian Lanza he's not going to help them in any way, you don't think?
He may help them, but it doesn't mean that he's not there. He's not going to be their white knight.
I mean, the benefit is that it's not the same lobbyist in there, but those guys are still there. To say that those guys aren't still on the payroll of the Curaleafs and stuff is totally wrong. They absolutely are. Mm-hmm. But what is the general policy of the Trump administration on cannabis? That's the question.
Well, that's going to come for the Attorney General, and that's going to be in my next story. And on that, we're going to roll into a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Cow patties.
Well, we're back, you guys.
Angry everybody.
We're back.
Cow patties.
Let's talk about it Tuesday, Todd. There, you know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about it Tuesday.
Y'all know how we get down. Up next is none other than the love man himself, the man who's all about love.
Yes.
He's strolling down the boulevard, smoking on the best weed in the world, the highest Republican in every room that he walks into, and the man with more cannabis influence at Mar-a-Lago than Brian Lanza and any other pot-loving, Politico. Mm-hmm. Mr. Jason Beck.
Yes. Well, you guys, man, I got a fun story today for you guys, because there's someone asking in D.C., this industry is high on the thought of Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, you guys.
Be pissed.
Yeah, stop the cap. You can't call someone that when there's no conviction and there's no accuser, Todd. That's not appropriate. There's one group that's thrilled with Donald Trump's embattled pick for Attorney General. That's right, weed companies, you guys. Trump's first administration took a adversarial approach to cannabis policy, and the industry's worried a second term could roll back the few advances made during the Biden administration or target cannabis users and companies once again. But then came Matt Gaetz. That's right. Few lawmakers on Capitol Hill have taken a more pro-cannabis stance than Gaetz, and his selection has left the weed industry feeling like Christmas morning. Yes, that's right, with mistletoe and jingle bells. That's right. In a quote, he's a very vocal on this issue, and he's on our side, said Boris Jordan, CEO of Curaleaf, the largest cannabis company in America, and says sometimes it takes an unpleasant person to get something radical done. Well, good job, Boris. That's a good quote. And more than half of the Americans live in a state where adult use cannabis is legal, but the industry is hampered by the lack of federal legalization and regulations. Companies face challenges accessing banking services, high federal tax rates, and a ban on interstate commerce, some of which the DOJ has the power to address. Here you guys go. The Biden administration began a process 2 years ago to lessen federal restrictions on marijuana, and the Trump administration will either shepherd it over the finish line or derail it. The Attorney General is key in that process, and the industry was hoping for someone who would not be as combative to the weed industry as Attorney General Jeff Sessions and William Barr in the last Trump administration. In a quote, that bodes well for the industry and understanding that a solution needs to be brought to bear. Former GOP Colorado Senator Cory Gardner, who championed federal cannabis policy changes during his time on Capitol Hill, said on Friday that Gardner met with Gaetz about cannabis policy during their time in Congress, and said he was, in quotes, very knowledgeable and understood the issues at stake. Well, that's because I've been keeping Matt up to speed with everything that's happening, you guys. And nonetheless, cannabis stocks shot up immediately after Gaetz' nomination was announced on Wednesday, a sign of the industry's optimism that he could bring about much-needed policy change. It was a surprising development for an industry disappointed by lawmakers in Washington, D.C. after high hopes that 2020's Democratic trifecta would bring progress. I don't understand why anyone expected the Democrats to do anything. But nonetheless, adult use cannabis legalization enjoys support among more than 60% of the country, including about half of Republicans. But despite bipartisan support on Capitol Hill, a piecemeal legislation to help the cannabis industry access banking services more easily, including backing from Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, only a research bill has passed during 4 years of Democratic Senate control. That's right. Well, we also had Cory Booker grandstanding and trying to kill safe banking, so that also led to part of it. And, nonetheless, Trump changed the game when he came out strongly in favor of Florida's marijuana legalization referendum, which ultimately failed. And during this election cycle, and the weed world has been waiting to see if his appointees would reflect that stance. In a quote, you guys, the choice of Gaetz signals to me and many of my colleagues that Trump is going to follow through on his campaign promises, said David Culver of the U.S. Cannabis Council, a trade group. And Gaetz has been involved in all the major pieces of cannabis reform that have surfaced over the years. That's all true, end quote. And the reaction of the cannabis advocates in the criminal justice reform space, who uniformly requested anonymity to candidly discuss their views with Gaetz' nomination, was less enthusiastic. The cannabis advocacy world, which leans strongly progressive, has a long-standing aversion to Gaetz, originating with his guest to the 2018 State of the Union, a man accused of denying a Holocaust and promoting white nationalism. Oh, man, I know who put in this quote. I know who they talked to get this article. Oh, boy, here we go. In a quote, "It's horrible, but great at the same damn time. texted one legalization advocate who wished to remain anonymous because they may need to work with Gaetz in the future, and we are going to get everything we want, they say. And I know exactly who that person is, you guys. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. A number of these advocates told Politico as far back as 2019 that they would not answer questions about Gaetz' involvement in the policy space, and two advocates and one former Hill staffer told Politico this week that they stopped meeting with Gaetz and his staff about cannabis policy after the Department of Justice launched a sex trafficking investigation into Gaetz. The investigation has since been dropped through a House ethics probe into the matter and continued. And Gaetz has denied the allegations, which I believe are totally false and without merit and everything else like that. But nonetheless, that's just my opinion in reality. They could not deny, however, that Gaetz voted for and introduced legislation on cannabis policy, including amendments to allow the use of cannabis products by active military members, and most of these same advocates are now acknowledging the likelihood of working with Gaetz if he is confirmed as AG because of what he could do for their issue. That's right. They're having to do the Rico flip-flop right there. But in a quote, he's no longer one of the 435. He's a very prominent role, one legalization advocate explained. A lot of this is very, very bad, but in the narrow scope of drug policy, there might be room for making things better, they say. And of course, Gaetz still faces a very difficult confirmation battle. Anti-legalization groups, meanwhile, are pointing to Gaetz' vote against adult use marijuana in Florida as a sign that he may not be as amenable to the industry as widely believed. Now, we all know that's just propaganda. He was not for that monopolistic bill. Geez, these guys, these prohibitionists. And Gaetz told Politico in April that he was concerned with the Florida measure because, in quotes, it is done in the Constitution, which becomes very rigid and difficult to change. If Gaetz is confirmed, the industry is optimistic that he could do more than just shepherd through rescheduling, reinstating Obama-era protections for the cannabis industry. What protections are they talking about? Obama did not protect us at all. And beginning the process for full decriminalization are two steps some hope Gaetz would push for if he takes the role at top of the DOJ. And a quote, "That was the first good piece of news I got from cannabis in 3 years," said Jordan, said Gaetz' nomination. Well, it looks like my buddy, Mr. Matthew Gaetz, is going to be your next AG, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this, and I'm here to battle all of your crazy comments that I know you guys are going to have to say about this.
His only qualification is that he's beholden to Trump. And now Trump owns the DOJ. That's his only qualification.
No, he's not. He's a lawyer.
He's
a lawyer. Matt Gaetz is a lawyer. You can't run the DOJ without being a lawyer.
Floor of women he has had sex with, right?
He's never cross-examined.
Allegedly.
He's never cross-examined anybody. He's never interrogated anybody.
He's interrogated tons of people, bro. I got tons of videos of him interrogating people as a House member.
He was a junior.
Young women were interrogated.
He asked Democrats. He asked Democrats who were opposing Trump more questions than he asked for IDs in the parties. Right?
Jeez Louise, bro. You're so ridiculous.
Not all lawyers are litigators, Rico. But
they're not. But Attorney General should have that under his belt.
But cross-examination of somebody is a qualification now. Come on, look. I think
he has the best cross-examinations in my opinion.
Yes, it is. It's actually one of their bread and butter skill sets.
Yeah, come on.
Every lawyer is not a litigator, so they're not in a position to cross-examine because they're not in court.
Every lawyer that passes law school is practiced in those skills, no matter what area of law they choose.
And if you look at Matt Gaetz' history on Capitol Hill and all of the questions that he poses, all these woke individuals that have come before different committees and whatnot, he has been a champion in litigating them and their woke policies and agenda pieces.
He's against human rights.
No, he is not. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard.
You got to wait and see with all these people. It's not like anybody is going to be better or worse for cannabis. It's all going to.
He's going to be the best for cannabis. He's the best thing we could have for cannabis.
It's going to depend on whose voices are there and who's being heard and who's being supported by this administration. That's what's going to.
I'm pretty sure you can find somebody. I'm pretty sure you can find somebody without the the baggage to be pro cannabis.
Good luck.
Actually, the baggage. I think the baggage is better, Rico, because it shows that they've already walked over the hot coals and are still around.
When they try to bury a report with him boning 17-year-olds, that's not really good.
That's fake news, bro. That's Democrat propaganda.
It's not fake news.
It is fake news, bro.
Dude, the report was released, and a 17-year-old said that she had
show me where the accuser is.
And dude, it's all over the news since last night.
Not buying it.
17-year-old said she was fucking her 17-year-old friend, and she had sex with him too.
Not buying it.
When she was 17.
Not buying it.
She said this, and your boy MAGA Mike tried to bury the shit. And so if you are a father of a girl like I am, fuck Matt Gaetz.
Not buying any of this craziness.
Find somebody else to smoke with. Find somebody else to get as your AG pick.
Not buying any of this craziness.
Like straight the fuck up. Like, this has been released, and the Republicans can't find one other person to be the Attorney General. Come on, bro.
No, he's gonna be the AG, bro. It's gonna be great.
Real shit right there. That is real shit. And they tried to bury that shit. And your boy Kevin McCarthy got kicked out because he was going to out him for that shit, and he resigned.
That is not why. That is not why that happened.
Released the next damn day.
That is not why that happened. That is not why that happened. That is not why that happened at all. I knew about the ousting of Kevin McCarthy months ahead of time before that ever happened, bro. That is total fake news.
Look, I just want to put a reality check out for everybody. Every single politician that runs this country is dirty, and they all cover for each other. So let's not pick and choose just because it's convenient.
Nobody said that, Saman. Nobody said that, Saman, at all. No, hold on. You're trying to make false equivalencies when somebody sloppily tried to pay Venmo for sex with a 17-year-old.
I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is
stop the ridiculousness.
Are in the same boat.
You sound like you're working for CNN right now, Rico.
No, I'm not saying either or at all. I'm just saying, pick somebody who hasn't been on record, who didn't try to pay for fucking sex with a 17-year-old over Venmo. How about that?
You're arguing for one makes it ridiculous. They're all, every single one of them, throw them in the same boat. They're all trash.
No, they're not all paying for Venmo sex with a 17-year-old.
Bro, they're all trash.
You guys are crazy.
They're not all doing this. Not every single one of them is doing that.
How do you expect it to be different, Rico? Our president has 34 felonies. He's been accused 28 times of sexual misconduct and has to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to.
And he's the president.
Right? He's the president, right? So these rapists, they like each other, right? And now, removing the abortion laws, right? Now the rapist can actually.
No one's removed the abortion laws. Stop it. Kids. Stop the hypocrisy.
Look at Diddy, bro.
It's all evil plan.
It's all connected.
How many politicians did he pay? How many politicians did he have at his parties, bro? There were Democratic politicians. So again, let's not get all weird about this. They're all fucking trash.
You don't have to. Matt Gaetz already got weird multiple times.
Let's talk about
the Matt Gaetz got a weird case. Straight up.
Matt Gaetz ain't got no case, bro.
When we say that they're all trash, that's like comparing compost to plutonium, right? There are varying degrees of trash.
That's cute, Yarrow. That's cute.
It's already enriched.
Rohrbacher said 25% of them were good people.
And Matt Gaetz is part of that 25%.
Oh, please.
100%. 150%.
Put your alliance. Why can't a little of it be true, Jason?
Because none of that is true. It's all made up propaganda by the left.
How? You know this how?
Because I know Matt Gaetz personally, bro. That's how. That's how.
What does that mean? That lots of people knew Dahmer, right? Lots of people knew all these serial killers. He was such a nice guy, right? That's what they always say. And because he's a nice guy means he can't have sex with a 17-year-old?
It didn't happen, bro. It didn't happen. It's total fake news. Total bullshit.
Why did he resign? Why did he resign exactly?
Total bullshit.
Guys, I'm going to agree with Nick Bradley today. Politics are insane, Nick. You are absolutely right, okay? This is the problem. This is the divisiveness because no one could hear reason. Logic goes out the window.
I'm surprised that none of you guys. I'm just surprised that you guys all want to harp on this false allegation and don't want to say anything of like you guys don't think that he'll actually get confirmed or anything else like that. And I'm surprised none of you guys want to stand on that.
These are not false.
It's 100% a false allegation.
I like to stand on things because I'm so damn short. I need that extra view.
We all know that.
So what I will say is that Trump likes to position himself as an outsider. I don't know that that's accurate. He likes to position himself.
He's definitely
as
an outsider.
Stop interrupting. You guys really need to level up the decorum on the show instead of just pecking at each other. Trump likes to.
So there.
Pecking.
You ruined my fucking flow, goddammit. So shut it. It might be your show, but this is my moment. Trump likes to put himself as the maverick. I'm not sure that everything he's done is really outside the box or outside the Beltway or outside of Washington, D.C. However, one of the things that he has done in these in this rapid blitzkrieg of proposed cabinet picks is he has picked a lot of people who on the surface, even through a conventional Republican lens, do not appear to be eminently qualified for the roles in which they are being selected. Gaetz is not the only person who falls into that category. When you pick a Fox News anchor, and yeah, he had some military service, but he's got a slew of sexual assault settlements while he was at Fox. You are picking people who
like that
could be seen. Stop it, Todd.
I thought that was part of working at Fox.
I can't help it.
You are picking people who are being seen as unconventional for the roles that they're being considered. Now, sometimes that may be a revolutionary approach, and other times it may be a reckless approach. And so the fact that Gaetz has a law degree doesn't mean that he is a competent or accomplished attorney. And so even within the Republican Party, there is ample concern by a wide swath of constituents that he might not be the most proficient pick. And so what I think we're seeing here is a pattern where it appears at first blush that Trump is choosing people that he feels might be loyal to him versus very, very capable at the roles are being considered. Now, that may or may not be true, but it is not a democratic perspective. And if you turn on news sources or sources of infotainment that identify themselves as right-leaning or right-wing, there is a broad conversation going on about whether Trump is putting the best people in the best roles. I don't think Gaetz gets through because I think that Trump is trying to be too aggressive in his first 100 days, and that the idea of no FBI checks, recess appointments, and picking people who appear to be from his sphere instead of from a very wide bench of tools in a toolbox that a Republican president could choose. I think at a very minimum, he's going to either it's going to backfire or he's going to use too much of his political capital on appointments versus legislation and policy proposals.
I think it's like probably part of his strategy to put some of these people up so that they are a deflection point. You know, this is a bocce ball game essentially. He's putting up blocks so that he can do what he needs to do. But I think that's politics. I don't think it's fair to say that, like, you know, all politicians haven't chosen somebody that was, you know, polarized in some fashion, or just as like the aside of like, look, this is just the preliminary. No one has been confirmed, no one has been adopted, and no one has taken an actual job. So for us to sit here and like debate this as it is fact is just too premature.
So let me tell you how this thing is going to go. I'll go ahead, Jenny. Sorry.
Here's how it probably should be going, because we're a weed show. Is Matt Gaetz good for weed? Yes or no?
Yes, he is.
We can debate his personal life and what he's done and whatever else, but I don't think that that's necessarily this show, and I think that's caused a lot of dissension, and I'm going to let you guys go back and forth about it if you want to. But his policy and his stance on cannabis, because we are a cannabis show and we were reporting the cannabis functions of this, what do you guys think about that?
He's the best. He's the best thing since sliced bread for cannabis. Straight up.
He's a distraction. Get somebody else in there. Oh God,
he's not. We're not going to get someone else in there. That's not going to happen. He's going to end up getting confirmed. And I know a lot of people. I'm surprised none of you guys brought this up. That you guys don't think that he'll get confirmed through the whole process. But let me tell you something. Hold on, Rico. Hold on. So this is how it's going to go. Day 1, January 20th, Trump gets sworn in. Matt Gaetz is the acting AG from that point, with all of the powers that the AG office has. Okay. A confirmation can take up to 2 years to actually go through. So Matt Gaetz will be the ultimate attorney general with or without a confirmation. Senator Thune has already said that he is fine with allowing for a for the recess appointment to put him in. And can you just imagine the conversation? Because we have this other thing going on in Florida. We have this open senatorial seat that has been vacated by Marco Rubio, who's now going to be our Secretary of State. And can you just imagine this, you know, just picture the room. You got Trump in the room, you got Senator Thune in the room, and you got Matt Gaetz in the room. And he's saying, hey, here's the deal. Here's the deal, Thune.
That room's gotta smell like
You're going to
shit.
make sure that Matt Gaetz gets through his confirmation hearing. Or I'm going to appoint Matt Gaetz to that senatorial seat, and you'll ultimately suffer the same fate as Kevin McCarthy in the Senate.
Why are we envisioning this room again?
And on that, we're going to roll right into, that's right, the voice of Vegas. That's right, himself, Mr. Todd Denkin. He's the founder of Digipath Labs and of the Metaverse, where you can buy all of your digital dank. And that's right, coming up next is none other than Mr. Todd Denkin.
Thank you. I'm going to do my own applause since one of you guys having an applause. Thank you very much. Sticking to GOP politics, newly elected Republican Senate Majority Leader opposes marijuana legalization and rescheduling, and he also opposes industry banking access. That's right. Senate Republicans on Wednesday elected a new majority leader who not only opposes legalizing marijuana, has also called for a reversal of the Biden administration's plan to reschedule cannabis, and has criticized Democrats for working to increase the industry's access to banking services. John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota who defeated Senators John Cornyn, a Republican from Texas, and Rick Scott, a Republican from Florida, an election for the leadership slot, joined other GOP lawmakers in a letter in July challenging the current administration's marijuana rescheduling push, urging that the policy proposal be trashed. Rescheduling rule, quote, fails to provide adequate science and data to support moving marijuana to Schedule III and should not have been signed or published, the letter Thune signed, as calling it, quote, irresponsible for federal health officials to make this determination when emerging research shows there are significant health concerns associated with marijuana use. The letter details Thune's and other Republican lawmakers' concerns about marijuana's health effects, suggesting that there is a, quote, clear association between cannabis use and psychosis, anxiety, cognitive failures, respiratory adverse events, cancer, cardiovascular outcomes, and gastrointestinal disorders, unquote. It also claims that, quote, sexual dysfunction was twice as high in men who used marijuana, unquote, and that, quote again, marijuana use among veterans with PTSD was associated with worse PTSD symptoms or violent behavior than alcohol use, all due to cannabis. On criticizing cannabis use and policy reform, the letter Thune signed further calls into question whether marijuana has any medical value. And I quote, medical marijuana dispensaries sell edibles and vapes that come in flavors like passion, raspberry, blueberry calm, wild cherry, and sour apple. Pretending that these products are medicine that can treat health conditions is doing a disservice to Americans. It remains the case that marijuana has no currently accepted medical use, Thune and his Republican colleague wrote. The fact that states have labeled marijuana as medicine does not change the nature of the drug. We urge you to withdraw this proposal and maintain marijuana as a Schedule I drug. Separately, as Senate Democrats moved to advance a marijuana legalization bill in 2021, Thune said that cannabis reform is, quote, something we'll probably have to grapple with here. He's consistently opposed even modest proposals to allow marijuana industry banking. Earlier this year, Thune said attaching cannabis banking legislation to an aviation bill would be a non-starter, noting that Republican opposition to this idea is very strong. He called the then Democratic-controlled House's proposal to include marijuana banking reform in a large-scale coronavirus bill crazy stuff in 2020, complaining in a floor speech that the text of the underlying legislation mentions cannabis more times than jobs. He has called the adoption of state-specific legalization policies, quote, a dangerous path, unquote. He also received an F grade from NORML in his 2024 voter guide. NORML political director Morgan Fox said, despite Senator Thune's misguided opinions and policy positions on cannabis up to this point, we're confident that he is capable of evolving on this issue, as have the vast majority of Americans. While it is extremely doubtful that comprehensive cannabis policy reform will be a priority in the Senate under his leadership, we're hopeful that his record as a level-headed lawmaker means he will listen to evidence, experience, and the will of the American people who overwhelmingly want to see federal policy reform. Meantime, we're doing everything we can to achieve whatever we can while we still have Senate leadership for whom this issue is a stated priority. I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News, and does this spell doom for the cannabis banking industry and the cannabis descheduling? Sure seems that way, at least for the next 4 years. Because Thune is going to stand in the way of Evis, the Attorney General.
He's a Thune in the side of the industry.
Oh, that was cute. That was good.
There.
That was good.
I like what you did there.
That was cute.
Great joke. It was terrible.
That was pretty catchy, Rico. Pretty good. I can't be mad at that.
Love that.
Can't be mad at that.
So what is Thune going to do there, Jason? Is he going to stand in the way?
It doesn't matter because we don't need banking reform, because the only thing that needs to happen in order for banking to be more affordable is less reporting requirements, SARS reports. That can be done on an executive level. It doesn't require the legislative branch. We haven't needed the safe banking to pass. That is not the magic bullet that all of a sudden changes it. I don't think this guy moves the needle, and I don't think he stops what Trump might want to do. If Trump wants to make it easier on a federal level for the cannabis industry, I don't think this guy gets in the way.
I don't think
this guy is in charge of putting the vote up to the Senate, right? So
he is.
No vote, then there's no vote.
Don't worry. I'm sure there'll be some things that happen that to where he'll be more amenable to allowing for those votes. He's just politically posturing right now, for the time being. But I'm not too worried about him being there and his stance as of today. I'm sure he's going to evolve as time goes on within this space.
What would make you sure of that?
Because
the lobbyist that was covered in the last article.
Because I'm a lobbyist, and that's I know things, Todd. I live in the future.
Know things.
That's what I specialize in.
Well, Morgan Fox over at NORML is very optimistic.
See, in this instance, I'm going to agree with Morgan Fox in this instance.
Oh, he's just saying that because he has to. He wants to.
No, he doesn't.
He wants to play nice in the sandbox. That's what he's trying to do.
I'm all about playing nice in the sandbox. You don't want to see me throw sand.
You are?
100%. I'm the nicest person to play with in the sandbox.
Come on. I really like those red sandboxes.
I mean, the red sandbox have the best kinetic sand.
Oh God!
Kinetic. Why is it kinetic?
Because we stick together.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Another GOP asshole who doesn't like weed.
Yeah, but to be fair, based on his age and demographic information, there's probably as many Democrat assholes who don't.
100%. There is true.
Let's be
That's true. That's fair.
Shit talkers. You know, like you look at this person, where they came from, their gender, their age, their race. Like, if you take all the people in Congress who match those externalities, they're probably all more likely to share that anti-cannabis bias than not across the partisan spectrum.
Depends on what state they're from. You know what I mean? If they're in a legal state, they're for it. If they're not,
that's not. That's not how it goes. That's not how it goes.
Right.
That's how it should go, but that's not how it goes.
The most part, the majority of.
No, that's not. No, you're very out of touch with how the Senate works. No, you're very out of touch with that. Very out of touch.
Okay.
Very out of touch. But
I mean, there are prohibitionists in the old white male,
of course,
demographic.
There's old white females that are prohibitionists.
As many stories.
It's not gender specific.
Mostly the old white.
Jason, as many stories as we've covered, it's been like 3.5, almost 4 years we've been covering news now. Like, how many of these stories with these politicians that are stifling cannabis progress? How many of them have been led by Democrats versus Republicans.
More by Democrats, but nonetheless, we're not going to go into all of that horse and carriage of who's leading the cart and feeding the carrots and whatnot. But man, it's so good.
I'm just saying, like in mass,
yeah,
it's way more. Republican. That's why I'm glad.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Can I tell you what? No.
Why I'm glad. Let me finish. This is why I'm glad we have people like you who are proud Republicans that are pushing the needle in the right direction.
Thank you very much, Rico. I appreciate that.
Counter argument to that partisan statement, which is even if there's more Democrats in favor of cannabis, they're taxing the shit out of it. They are taxing the industry until there is no industry. So I don't know that they're actually helping much.
The Democrats are no help.
The Democrats are
definitely doing it because only way to get it passed.
They're going to need to replenish those 20 M's if they went in the negative. So yeah, they got to tax the weed.
Kamala's fighting Jake Paul to raise that money. We're good.
I would actually see that. I would actually tune in to watch. I might even pay for that. Actually.
Oh, why?
I'm to watch Jake Paul and Kamala get it on in the ring. You know.
Oh God, you guys are fun.
Maybe Kamala.
She's planning on using not only all of her grappling skills, but at least 7 different accents.
I mean, that would be more entertaining than watching Tyson and Jake Paul, like, you know, do whatever the fuck that was.
It was me winning $100 because Netflix.
Did anyone see the meme?
Shout out to Mike Tyson and Jake Paul for getting that bag, because that's all they do.
Did anybody see the meme? Did anyone see the meme? The Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch Out with Glass Joe, and them saying that they've seen this fight before.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
Hey, shout out to Dr. Wayne Lee, Uncle Wayne. You're the man, the ring doc. He was the one that had to attend the cut of the amazing female fighter Soriano.
What does that have to do with anything? We're going to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Got robbed.
Wait, if you can say that you know people, why can't Saman?
Stop the ridiculousness, Jenny Beth. Stop the ridiculousness.
That's
Jenny.
family, though.
Yeah. Are you all ready for America's new #1 D9 gummy line? That's right. We are bringing to you Parody Gummy. These vegan gummies are manufactured in a safe harbor facility, so you know they're going to be clean and safe, and they're not going to give you any of the runaround. Coming in, we have 3 amazing flavors for you. We have the Raspberry Riots. Also, we have the Sleepy Joes if you need something to help you sleep at night. And if you're feeling like raging and having a party time, that's right, we have the Pineapple Bad Hombre. If you're feeling like a bad hombre, make sure you head over to www.parodygummy.com and secure your bag today. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And make sure that you reach out and help the Green Party. They're in need of some financial assistance to help alleviate their campaign debt. And their website link and their cannabis policy are all in the description of this video below. Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right, Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry. Secure up to $2 million today, and make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9. We're back, Rico.
And we are back. Straight up. It is another dope dad on our show today, coming straight out of Sebastopol. He is a second generation cultivator and the founder of Special Teams Consulting, here to break us off a little bit of gaslighting for Jenny Beth Dills. It's none other than the Sebastopol Shire himself, Yarrow Kubrin. Yarrow. Yarrow.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. High at 9 News viewers. This has been a spicy show, non-linear. Maybe not our best, but we always keep it spicy. And just remember, too much agreement kills a good conversation. My article today, hopefully, is actually bipartisan, and everybody on the show is going to agree that this is good news and progress in the cannabis neighborhood. So without further ado, Missouri court rules the stacking of cannabis taxes is prohibited. An appellate judge panel on Missouri recently ruled that local governments cannot stack cannabis sales taxes, overturning a lower court's decision from May. The Missouri Court of Appeals Eastern District ruled on Tuesday that local governments cannot stack cannabis industry sales taxes. The ruling reverses a lower court's decision from May that allowed the city of Florissant, and St. Louis County to impose a 3% sales tax on adult use cannabis sales. In the decision, the panel of appellate judges said that the state constitution's plain and unambiguous language only allows one local government to impose an additional 3% sales tax. Due to the stack taxes, customers at Florissant dispensaries were paying a total of over 20% in sales tax on adult use cannabis products. The primary question before the panel was, what did voters intend by local government when they approved the adult use cannabis reforms of 2022? The appellate panel determined the answer to that question is an unincorporated area like Florissant, the village, town, or city is the local government, not the county. In an interview with Gannett, Andrew Mullins, executive director of the Missouri Cannabis Trade Association, said the ruling helps put $3 million back into the pockets, $3 million back into the pockets of Missouri customers each month. According to the data from the Missouri Department of Revenue, 90% of the state's 114 counties have enacted a 3% cannabis sales tax, with 74, including a municipality that has imposed a tax, meaning both city and county governments have been imposing 3% taxes at dispensaries. Double dipping! Doug Morris, spokesman for St. Louis County, told Gannett that officials are reviewing the ruling and determining next steps. You got smacked down by the courts. It is unclear at this point what the financial impact would be, he said. No, it's not. It's super clear. You got your hand caught in the cookie jar. Greedy, greedy, greedy. A similar case is pending in Buchan County. So I just had to kick it off with this. As most of you who've heard me on this show would say, I rant and rave and riff about the fact that the cannabis tax structure in most markets, municipalities, is absolutely criminal and is like a foot on the neck of a nascent industry trying to differentiate itself from the unregulated market, as well as create margins for entrepreneurs and value for custies. So I want to hear what the rest of you guys think and feel about this today.
I think this is overall this is good, bro. Like they're not allowed to stack taxes. Am I correct on that? Or they got smacked down. That's great. This is fantastic news.
Taxes. Yeah, it's fucking great.
Exactly. I mean, I don't understand why all of these elected officials think that it's okay to stack taxes on top of taxes when taxes are just unjust in the first place. Our whole country was founded off of the fact of us fighting against taxation and whatnot, and yet all these people just want to do is just tax the industry to death.
To death. Yeah, I mean, we would have another Boston Tea Party, but we just don't want to dump our cannabis in the water.
I think we should do that with all the outdoor weed.
Hey, now, I'll be liking my son grown terpy, terps. Mm-hmm. So, this hopefully is the beginning of a domino effect across the country and across many markets. Now, I don't know if that's going to allow for a clawback or revised math with the taxes that are already collected. Mm-hmm. And obviously, these municipalities have a vested interest to litigate this and tie it up in courts and take it as far in that process as it can because they're making money. But imagine what our world would look like in the near future if there was substantial tax reform. Not because regulators wanted to support operators, but because the court said,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think all of these groups should file some type of class action suit after this to demand a tax credit in some sense for the overtaxation that has been spent.
At what point, Jason, do you think? At what point do you think is, or what do you think is the tipping point when it comes to taxation? When MSOs are going to be the only ones?
Well, Trump already said that he's not going to charge tax on tips. So,
when it comes to cannabis,
you see what I did there?
When it comes to cannabis, do you think there is a point where MSOs are going to be the only ones that can survive with the taxation the way it is right now?
I mean, I don't think.
Isn't that the point?
I don't even think MSOs will ultimately be able to survive with the point of taxation that it is. I think the meaner and leaner you run your business, the best, the better you're going to be able to stand to weather this taxation storm. I don't necessarily think that it's only going to be the MSOs that are able to survive, but I do think that you do have to be vertically integrated in order to be able to withstand it.
Maybe they get a much better deal on taxation now. They have Lanza in there, who has the inside bite.
Well, you know, in all fairness, there was a tweet that got put out by Elon today from the from the Doge office. And he said, which government agency should we audit first? And to which I responded, the IRS, because I would love to see the IRS get audited. We already know that. Yeah. Like let's just audit the IRS. Let's see how well they do, because we all know that the State Department has been failing all of their audits.
Oh yeah, keep it spicy, y'all. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.
All right, Rico, you have a fantastic day. And on that, we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Jenny Beth Dills. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Served, a 501c3 that handles all kinds of elements of criminal justice reform. That's right. Here to deliver a hot package is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Hot packages, huh?
Mm-hmm. You don't like what I did there? I thought that was pretty good for you.
You guys have been on one today. I'm just eating my fucking out of my machicazzo cup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those either don't speak Italian, that's what the fuck. Okay, another what the fuck story. Hopefully we can all agree on this one, because we can all agree the DEA can go eat a dick. So the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration may expand participation in upcoming hearings on marijuana rescheduling beyond the initial 25 individuals and organizations designated in October. This hit came in a November 15th order from DEA Chief Administrative Law Judge John Mulroney, who rejected a petition from a veterans advocacy group but left open the possibility for further changes. The Veterans Action Council, or VAC, had petitioned to participate in the rescheduling hearing scheduled to begin December 2nd. The group advocates for cannabis access for military veterans and had previously requested to be included as an interested party. However, the DEA did not add VAC to its list of designated participants released last month. The VAC argues that marijuana should be moved to Schedule 5 or descheduled entirely, rather than the proposed Schedule 3. Moving marijuana to Schedule 3 would remove certain tax burdens on cannabis businesses, including restrictions under Section 280E of the Internal Revenue Code. However, critics argue that Schedule 3 is still inappropriate for the $32 billion legal cannabis industry, as it primarily includes FDA-approved drugs prescribed by doctors. In his order, Judge Mulroney declined the VAC's request to join the hearing, citing procedural limitations. However, a footnote in the ruling suggests the issue may not be settled. Mulrooney referenced case law, indicating the decisions on subpoenas may not be final until the case reaches an ultimate disposition. The VAC views this as an opportunity to appeal and is currently weighing its next steps. The December 2nd hearing is expected to determine whether participants have legal standing to continue in future hearings, likely set for early 2024. To participate, parties must demonstrate they are adversely affected by the DEA's rescheduling proposal. In the meantime, some previously invited participants are stepping away. The American College of Occupational and Environmental Medicine withdrew after missing a filing deadline, while Florida oncologist Dr. Chad Collis, representing a hospice and palliative care group, also declined to proceed. On the opposing side, multiple designated parties, including anti-cannabis organizations and advocates, are represented by New Jersey Attorney David Evans, described a prominent cannabis policy opponent. The marijuana rescheduling debate remains closely watched, with significant implications for the cannabis industry's patients and federal drug policy. The hearing marks a pivotal step in the DEA's proposal to shift marijuana from its current Schedule I classification to Schedule III under the Controlled Substances Act. I think, once again, this is a load of hot bullshit. This veterans group is absolutely disproportionately affected by the current scheduling. They would be definitely affected by Schedule III. And I think that they pose a good point. I think everybody should be able to be heard if you have a dog in the fight. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys. And once again, screw you, DEA.
Well, I think they need to have a lot more voices at this hearing for sure. I think they have definitely picked and choose only certain voices and definitely tried to silence a whole number of other voices in relation to not accepting their applications to be able to speak and have their voices heard. And I don't understand how you're going to call it the type of hearing that they're calling it without allowing for these other voices. So I definitely want to hear all the voices at the table, even the prohibitionists at the table, because personally I like the prohibitionist arguments because they're just that ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with both of you guys on this one. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that. So you know, if three of us are agreeing and Saman is on a call, then you already know that Yarrow Yarrow's trying to Yarrow is definitely going to have something to push back on, because
I am fucking telling these people to take a chill pill and to quit trying to read a book into a sentence.
Well, that's what they like to do in there. You know what I mean? It's the troll patrol.
Oh, offended. Oh, you should be fired. Oh, I thought I drank more coffee.
To be fair, they said you should be fired before you made that knee on the neck comment.
Yeah, well, that knee on the neck is a law enforcement technique that doesn't make it a racist comment. So y'all can go back to school or decide to channel your frustration about the current state of race relations in this country elsewhere.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anything else to say on this story in particular, Yarrow? Because we Todd and myself and Jenny all agree, and usually you're the one that always wants to disagree if there's three people in agreement.
Yeah, I know. I like to keep it spicy, but I was too busy typing.
Okay.
But you read the story already, so you should have commentary.
Oh, look at shots fired.
4.75 hours sitting on the shower and the toilet to be able to read everything. Okay.
Shots fired. Fired. Shots fired.
Sit on your shower, bro?
Well,
yeah, then he waffle stomps it down the drain.
Oh man, you guys.
It's called a bidet, isn't it?
Waffle stops. You guys are cute. You guys are cute. All right. Well, I'm gonna go into to Saman's story then, since we're waiting for him. He's on a phone call. So you guys, this is some very interesting news. You guys, it involves Meta, the metaverse, and a judge tosses out Mike Huckabee's lawsuit against Meta over ads suggesting he endorsed marijuana gummies. Sounds like he should be endorsing Parody Gummy, in my opinion, but nonetheless. A federal judge in Delaware on Monday dismissed a lawsuit filed by former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who is also now appointed to be the ambassador to Israel, against social media giant Meta over advertisements using his name and image to sell CBD products. Huckabee, a Baptist minister and President-elect Donald Trump's nominee to be U.S. ambassador to Israel, claimed that Meta allowed and profited from the advertisements that falsely claimed he used and endorsed CBD gummies. CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of the main active ingredients in marijuana, but does not by itself provide the high caused by psychoactive THC. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, argued that it was immune from liability under Section 230 of the Federal Communications Decency Act, and U.S. District Judge Gregory Williams rejected that claim. He concluded, however, that Huckabee, a political commentator and two-time presidential candidate, had failed to allege valid claims for invasion of privacy, unjust enrichment, and violation of Arkansas Publicity Protection Act. Whoa. Williams agreed with Huckabee that in collecting user data and using algorithms to determine which posts and advertisements appeared at the top of users' news feeds, Meta was an information content provider that was not immune from liability for the illegitimate ads. The judge nevertheless determined that Huckabee failed to demonstrate that Meta knew the ads were fake and that it was at least aware of facts and circumstances that would give rise to such knowledge. Huckabee's assertion that Meta approved and maintained the ads with actual malice or reckless disregard for their truthfulness was merely a mere conclusionary statement, Williams wrote. And in an additional quote, "It is not reasonable to infer that Meta entertained serious doubts about the asserted advertisement since Governor Huckabee has publicly denounced marijuana," the judge wrote. "There is no allegation that Meta was required to conduct due diligence on the truth of the asserted advertisement, and even if there was such requirement, would be insufficient to infer malice, you guys." Well, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this, Governor Mike Huckabee. Man, oh man, and a big fight with Meta. What do you guys have to say about this?
Mike
Fuck
Huckabee.
Meta.
Fuck Meta, not say like Mike Huckabee.
I mean, he's out there. He's out there shilling for sleep aids and things like that. So he went from being a politician to a pitchman. So is somebody going to use his likeness? I just feel sorry for the people who make purchase decisions based on his endorsement.
He's done Mike Huckabee, right?
Like nobody's like, oh my God, where's my credit card? Mike likes it. So the people who were really that influenced by him, like, what percentage of the population is that? Maybe it's Nick Bradley. I don't know, but I don't think it really represents the largest majority of Americans. I think it's a non-issue.
I don't know. I think a majority of the Americans watch the channels that Mike Huckabee's on. If you look at the ratings, they're crushing all the liberal networks. Just look at the ratings, Yarrow. Just saying.
Religious free, and he needs to go away.
I bet. And Saman, I just read your story, bro. Welcome back. You're on mute. You're on mute, Saman.
Got you, buddy.
Damn, I was looking forward to talking about Mike Huckabee today.
Well, you're right in time to talk about him. You're right in time to talk about him. I just read the story, and we're right in the middle of the discussion. So what do you have to say about this?
Here, I'll catch you up. I said fuck Meta. He said fuck Mike Huckabee. Yarrow said nobody's going to buy shit based on Mike's recommendation. And then Todd said something about a religious zealot. So now, there you go.
I mean, all those things very relevant. Yes, Deb. It's an interesting story. I think, I mean, obviously we have a lot to discuss with regards to censorship, with regards to potential net neutrality, reversals. Look, I'm personally a wait and see type of person. I can't make assumptions. I can't make myself crazy. There's all kinds of stuff in this world make you crazy if you let it. So anyways, fuck Meta. Anyways, yeah, I definitely think that there's 100% reason to be skeptical, but I think there's also, something to say for like the voices of dissent that have been, being quelled a little bit when it comes to these, topics, but also when it comes to religion and politics, there's a reason why there's a separation. And I'm personally a fan of the separation. Because, there's nothing more bullshit than politics when it comes to religion. So, let's not be forceful and forcing it down, everyone's throat out there. But I think that collecting data and using that, it's a little, I think the way that we're collecting data, I think the reasons why they're collecting data is to be actually, questioned. And that's tough because I think the problem we're seeing is that they're going to use that collectively, aggressively, militantly to attack people, to maybe potentially categorize people, and that's we're getting into some really dystopian territory there. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but interesting article for sure.
Just love categorizing people, putting them in groups.
You guys.
Come on.
You guys, man.
Hey, well, look, we just put them in baskets, Todd. That's all, you know?
Cages.
I mean, I hate that Mike Huckabee is the one who raised this argument because I think it is a valid argument. And I think that our privacy is absolutely infringed upon. And it's like, hey, you could either have your social media and whatever little tiny ass check they send me with a tax document at the end of the year every month or not. So I think, it's frustrating. I think as the cannabis industry, we have a lot of bones to pick with them because, I mean, look at Seth Rogen and his ability to post cannabis content and him rolling and smoking and making little trays while he does his underwater basket weaving or whatever the fuck he's doing. And then mom and pop cannabis is like, hey, we have a sale this weekend for patients. We're doing an SB 34 event. Boom, lost your fucking account. So I think that we need to kind of look deeper into Meta and look into what they're doing with our ID metadata. I think it's important, right? Like, I don't need everybody to know what I was buying. Todd doesn't need to know the hemorrhoid cream that he purchased on a whole nother app. Because toggles that you can turn on.
Doesn't make me a bad person.
It doesn't make you a bad person. And you know
right
what, Todd? I might actually want your advice on that. So if I ever have the need, I'm going to call you. But I'm kidding.
It's Tux. It's Tux. It's Tux. He likes Tux.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I think that we need to be more aware in general of how our information and our personal information is collected and how it's used and what the methodology and what the thought process behind that collection and cataloging is, because it's kind of creepy. And I like to maintain a level of privacy. What I post on Instagram isn't me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's tough. The problem is we are definitely the targets. We are definitely the products. Our data is used to sell influencers on ways that they can make more money from us by, looking at our shopping habits. Some of the stuff that some of these companies that are now owned by private equity companies, by the way, what they can look at, what they can view from your own personal just purchasing data and history on Walmart, on Amazon, okay? All the things you put into your cart, the things you actually check out of your cart, they can see all of that. So what that does for individuals out there is it gives them creative ideas to sell us products based on our shopping habits. So it's not that it's like maybe the invasiveness of the security and specificity to like what Jenny's doing in her private life, but it's like, yo, now I'm under even more of a barrage, even more of a constant bombardment of shit that they want me to buy. That's not going to do me any good at all. It's terrible for my health. It doesn't bring me any more happiness. So it's like, I think people need to be very conscious about how they're spending their money and their time. And that's just the real, right?
I think that's fair.
And just for fun for you guys, go on the internet and search how to protect your data on Facebook and on Meta. There are certain toggles that you can turn on and off because that app intrinsically is allowed to trace whatever you're doing on your phone. It's allowed to listen to your microphone when you're not, when you're in the bathroom farting and you're in the bed laying on your back snoring with your mouth open. It can listen to you at any point in time. So make sure that you know how to turn those settings off and how to protect your own personal privacy.
Jenny, maybe we should do an informative video and teach people how to do that and throw it on the page.
I could do that.
I think we should do that.
Maybe we could have Mike Huckabee do the video for us. I mean, the thing that I didn't like about this article was just, it takes a certain mindset to want to go to the courts for relief. Mike Huckabee's not down to his last dollar. I believe he was searching for a payout and crying foul. But the court smacked him down and said that he hadn't proved any malice, said that Facebook didn't know whether the ads were real or not. And so I think it's dangerous when we start challenging the platforms for certain content, because it wasn't like Facebook made these ads, right? It's like suing the person who owns the road for the driver who wasn't responsible on the road.
Well, technically, the government owns the road, the Department of Transportation, and you guys blame them for everything. You blame the government for everything. So why wouldn't they be accountable?
Nick Bradley today.
Oh man! Shout out to the C Word who just threw in a super chat. It says, "Buy your seeds at San Francisco's Terpnami on December 7th and 8th." So thank you so much for that, the C Word, and make sure that you are in the Bay Area. You head over to San Francisco's Terpnami on December 7th and 8th. Thank you so much for that, buddy.
I'll wrap up with just this real quick. I feel like Meta, even though they're not the one like making the advertisement, because they are instituting the pathway for those advertisers and the data, because they own the data. So they're selling it to those advertisers as an added service, right? So it's like, it kind of is that. It's like it is a little duplicitous, right? You're helping us. We are creating the content. We are creating the algorithms in a sense, and then you're selling that information that is not forward facing to advertisers that are then targeting us directly, that have a really a really good psychological case that we're going to buy their product. And it's just true. And it's proven, right? So that's kind of like, I would say it is a little bit Meta's fault, but it is like the reason why it exists. It doesn't exist for anything else. It didn't start from some altruistic point of view. It came from the need for another advertising source for dollars. And it's smart, but guess what? We're the product.
Right. And, remember when they tried to shut down TikTok because TikTok is Chinese owned? That's because maybe China should not be having all of our American data and information.
Exactly.
But it's data mining. It's literally data mining.
But the one difference was the information that TikTok was data mining outside of the information that people were putting onto the platform, and the fact that it was taking information from other devices on networks, and that was buried in the fine print. So there's some distinctions there. I think TikTok was clearly more of like a Trojan horse for data mining versus just taking in information and then acting as a sort of aggregated repository of user activity.
You just like using the word repository.
Yes, but I think if you look through some of the new things
repository of user activity.
Some of the new things that have come out with Meta, like especially as they integrated that one central sign-on that signs on your Facebook and all your other accounts and everything like that. There is buried language in that does allow them to mine data from other things that have nothing to do with Meta.
Fair
enough.
I just don't think Mike needs to sue. I mean, I think
he does.
It's been a PR stunt. I think he got shot down in the court.
I think he does. I think he needs to sue. I think everybody should sue Meta. What are you going to say about that?
Saman, take your mute off and let me hear what you got to say.
I said I agree with you, Yarrow. I think that he's upset he's not getting enough attention these days. Look at him. He turned all gray hair. We didn't even know it. I was expecting a whole different Mike Huckabee, but it was definitely someone that has been out of the political spotlight, out of the conversation. He's probably jealous of his daughter for dominating more of the airwaves than he is.
His daughter did great. His daughter did great as the press secretary.
I don't know.
She was amazing.
Oh, please.
She was amazing.
There's
nothing amazing about her except
to be fair. There's nothing amazing about any of these people that are in charge of like the press.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
They're all ridiculous.
Mike reminds me of Tom Selleck, who's been pitching these reverse mortgages for years, right? It's like, how do you extend your 15 minutes of fame, no matter how you were on the public stage? So I just don't understand how you get upset if somebody uses your likeness that somebody wasn't Meta. Like if Mike was suing the people who made the ad, I'd be like, go get him, Mike, because they were tarnishing your image, whatever that is. But Meta didn't make the ads.
Meta didn't make the ads, but nonetheless, everyone's going to blame Meta 100%.
Well, Ice Cube said if AI made his voice into like allowed people to use his voice to rap or something like that he was going to sue the shit out of them too. I mean, it's not just Mike Huckabee. It's like all these people who are like, I don't get it. It's the devil. I don't like it. Not me.
That's a pretty good Mike Huckabee.
Fair enough. Fair.
I like your Ice Cube.
Fair enough, you guys. Well,
I don't like it.
And well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank yous to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do all this, and thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Adam in the building today. Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.